What's happening, guys? We're back with another quick video. So y'all are familiar with the air pump. I was telling you guys I've been installing, trying to keep it just as clean as we can. It just kind of runs to the different tanks and everything. But this one's going to be a little different. This one is going to be about nutrients. How do we make nutrients? Oh, let's see if we can get this lid off. Oh, there we go. Without breaking the bank and using Miracle-Gro. So pretty much what we have here is just different things that I picked out of the garden. We have, that's just an aloe vera leaf. We just got some mints, different herbs. Went and grabbed some soil. Just kind of toss that in here. And as you can see, the water is slowly beginning to darken. And there's not too many particles, everything's still fairly whole. We are going to let this sit for a couple of days, give or take. As you can see, what we have going on here, this is actually a recirculatory thing. There's a sponge filter down in there, and it pushes water up, and it's pushing a circulation, kind of helping circulate this water, as you can see there. You can kind of see it draining back down. And of course, we also have our added air bubbler to assist with just oxygenation. Keeping this mix oxygenated and constantly stirring it is a plus. It's really important to keep a mix aerated and oxygenated. That's what's going to keep it from harming your plants. A lot of times there's two different types. So there's going to be like an extract, and then there's going to be what's called a tea. Your teas generally can be bubbled for up to a week before they kind of start to get a little ripe, and you probably want to use them by the end of the week. Now those are not going to be as healthy as, say, an extract. An extract is only bubbled for no more than 4 hours. We're going to get a little bit more into it. I'll do another video at the computer and run actual data and talk more about the mixes. I mostly just wanted to do this video on our mix here, just showing you how easy it is to make nutrients. And so this, and again we'll do this in another video as well, but basically I add it into a Miracle-Gro garden sprayer, and the reason is it'll dilute this mix 1 to 25, and again we'll get into the details much more later. But over the next week I'll actually be adding different things like banana peels, orange peels. In fact, I'll even take you guys out to the garden and show you some of the stuff that I added. Here we are, we're at the small garden on our porch. As you can see, the other night I just went and just ripped the leaf right off. Nothing crazy. Shoved the whole thing in, kind of smashed it up so it'll slowly begin to release. I also added some of each of our mints. I got some leaves off of our peach tree I added. Some society garlic, some lemongrass. Again, there's another mint. The soil that I added was actually out of the potatoes here. Little update, side note, we actually had some ginger plants donated to me recently, so we're going to be trying to help those recuperate. They were dying whenever we got them. So there's going to be some, remnants of some of that stuff in there. And also these herbs here in our herb garden as well. The reason I add herbs into the mix is herbs are traditionally used for things like insecticides, smells. If you're dealing with maybe a cannabis plant, you're going to be looking into terpene values. And just really it can help broaden, like say if I have a tomato plant, I can broaden the flavor of that tomato using herbs like this in our teas. This is actually where a lot of the flavor is going to come from. So sure, yeah, I can get a meaty, juicy tomato that you can just slice and chop right up. And the flavor is wonderful. But it's going to be slightly lacking. So something like this, adding stuff like this is going to assist with that. We are going to go ahead and pop over to the big garden, and I'm going to show you why we're brewing tea. Here we are at the garden. It doesn't look too crazy, but the plants are recuperating well. So we do have some of our smaller tomatoes. As you can see, they're doing all right. They're not doing fabulous. They're still kind of coming in. That is important. We'll come back to that in a second. And then of course, some of our plant plugs we had already started prior are doing fairly well. You can see some there. We got another tomato, some of our squash or zucchini there. The weeds are kind of coming back up, so we're going to need to be taking care of those pretty soon. But as you can see, most of these plants are going to be considered what I would consider well established. You know, you can pretty much see them through the weeds. It's not like you have to really search for them too crazy. And not only that, they're starting to get discoloration such as thus. See that? Healthy, 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 but the top is not. Now, this could be due to a lot of things, but a lot of times I notice this whenever they're just starting to get a little hungry. See there? See, it has water, but it's a little hungry. A little hungry. And we got a couple of those, so like some over there to kind of help fight that grass back. Not only that, our blackberries, our little bushes, have began to recover. And even some of the tomatoes that I have here, again, they're nothing special, and the weeds are beginning to take over. So what can we do in our flowers here to assist with things like that? Well, adding nutrients. Now, this is where it begins to get tricky when you're making your own mixes. You really need to tailor them for what you're going to be doing. So for example, I'd say we have about 4 different types of plants here. Of course, we have our trees. We have more of like our bushes, you know, and then of course in terms of vegetables here, we have what I would consider to be healthy and maybe not so healthy or still considerably small. So that's where these guys come into play. Let's see if we can come down here real quick. Right here. So what that means is I need to be taking all of this into consideration when I'm making nutrients. So yes, I am going to be adding things that are going to be higher in nitrogen, such as coffee and stuff to the mix. And of course, you know, the herbs to help with pests and different things. And that's where the aloe vera comes into play. So the aloe vera is great. We actually use it as a rooting hormone. So taking something like that and adding it to the mix in a nice fat dose. So we took a really big fat leaf, and again, we're going to let it slow release into that water, is going to help add nutrients and overall health of the plant. Generally, if a plant is suffering, you can add a little bit of aloe. It's kind of like a well-rounded here you go, kind of like a medicine. And you know, we obviously use it as medicine ourselves. So adding in a weaker mix such as that, again, not really going heavy into nutrients. I'm not going to add any Miracle Grow or anything. It's just going to help develop all of these plants, no matter if it's this, one of the plants back here, or maybe even our tree or our pineapple. We do have another pretty good example I'm going to show you. So we're going to go over there. I'll be right back. Boom, we're back. So this is a perfect example, stinging thistles. Basically, this is growing, as you can see, in a kind of dead area. There is no reason for this plant to be doing that well. So clearly there is something here that we need to go ahead and look at. In fact, I wouldn't be opposed to putting it in my bucket. Now, I don't have any gloves or anything right now, and I don't really know what species this is. But taking something like this, couple clippings, and adding it to our tea that we're going to be bubbling for a little while would be super, super beneficial. These plants are miners. So their roots go straight down and they mine up all those nutrients and place it in their leaves. Not 100%, guys. This is going to be more of an estimate, just so I can relay information as quickly and accurately as possible. But basically, yes, they do act kind of like a miner. You know, they mine for nutrients, give or take, water and other things. That can be beneficial and that can be damaging. Now, it is good to note that I did add fish water into here. I added it out of a clean barrel, you know, food grade and everything, and somewhere I have not been treating water. That's very, very, very important. You do not want to have treated water in your edible garden. Now, the aquaponics is great because it's going to be very high in nitrogen, so that's why I'm not going to be adding coffee. Now, not all of this water is going to be the fish water. I only actually added about a half gallon. You would be amazed at the stuff that you can put in these teas. You can put almost anything in a tea. In fact, you can even make fungal dominated teas. This one is going to be bacterial. So what I'm going to do is let this set for a day or so, and then I'm going to add molasses. Molasses is going to crank that bacteria. And then a few days later, I'm actually going to add things like oatmeal. Oatmeal is great for fungal domination. Now again, I put a whole container, about a gallon or a half gallon of soil in this water, just bubbling. If I have any complications for the next day or so, I'm just going to come stir it. And I'm not trying to target any specific bacterial or fungal or really any nutrients. The only thing I want is to make different types of nutrients, fungal and bacterial, available for these plants. It has nothing to do with trying to isolate. This is just, think of it like a broad or full spectrum of just available nutrients and things for these plants to use. That's all this is for, and that's fairly beneficial. So like I said, try it out. Originally I started with a bucket and a 20 to 60 gallon air pump, and I had 2 bubblers. I haven't used a sponge filter. We've tried everything from hanging all the nutrients in socks to pantyhose above the water. I find this works best just because there's constant water and air flowing around the different nutrients and plants that we're going to be trying to extract. So we'll do an update on this later, and I'll actually do a video on how to administer it. But for now, enjoy. Have a great day. Be kind out there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you can get all of our material as I make it. Have a good one.